Alright, this is going to be the video for the Tactical Sniper Series match held at Coleman's Creek on August 30th. This is the gear, and I'll go over a little bit of how the stages worked, how the match went, and then we'll get into the stages. And before each stage, I'll put how many targets there were at what distances and try to give you a bit of the stage brief. I didn't record the stage briefs, but I can give you most of it. So starting with some of the more boring stuff, I brought a notepad to keep notes, ranges, dope, all that stuff. So, see, I got stage 6. These are the distances of the targets I ranged, what my holds were going to be for each one. And then finally I came back and recorded my time on the stage, and this is how I did every single one. This is my first match of this style, so I kind of changed how I did things throughout the day. So I would take all of this data and then put it onto my dope card that we'll get to in a minute on the other side of my rifle. I had a Garmin with me. I chronoed the week before, and I was shooting Hornady Black, and I was shooting it pretty fairly consistently around 2700, so that's what I used for my data. Ranging, I have a pair of Sig Kilo 3000s. We use these to find the targets, range the targets, and then I use these to spot all day. And I had them set on a Leofoto ST324CX tripod. This is a little bit short for me. I had to bend down. It hurt my back after a while. But this is very lightweight. I think the whole thing's 3 pounds, and it's what I shoot for Mammoth, so I'm just going to keep using this one. And then since we're in our vehicles, I also brought a extra shot timer with me in case the shot timer breaks for our squad or anybody needs one. We can have an extra. Mags, I brought a couple of different mags. Usually, I think the entire match, I only used 30 rounders. Some of these stages, they put you in really tight obstacles, so you need a 20 rounder just so you can get down lower. And then I also had some 25 rounders in case that would have come in handy. Pistol, same pistol as always, Glock 17 Gen 5. Radian Ramjet, Aimpoint Acro, and 19 round Glock mags. Nothing special. Well, I moved back to my original setup. I took the Spiritus Gista pouch off. It just didn't really work very well for me. Blue Alpha Gear belt, Safariland holster, T-Rex Arms dump pouch, S-Tech, mag pouches. Alright, so the rifle. I made some changes. This is my normal rifle. I just made a couple of changes to try to optimize performance for this style of match. I swapped out my Vortex Razor for a Nightforce ATACR 4-16. We'll start at the top, I guess. This is an Otter Creek Labs Polonium. This is an Armageddon Gear Extreme Temperature Fugly Brown suppressor cover. Unfortunately, they sent me the wrong one and I had to send it back, so I didn't have the suppressor cover I wanted in time, this one. So I pulled this off of one of my other rifles. It's not an Extreme Temp one, so it got a little cooked on some of the stages, but that's fine. Criterion barrel. This is a Magpul bipod and a ADM quick detach mount. There was not a single stage where you could use a bipod. I don't even think bipods are allowed in the match rules, but I just left it on all day. Coming back, I've just got a piece of Arca to give me a bit more of a flat spot to work off of. Coming back from there, I got this MDT Send It level. Try to turn it on. So basically it'll tell you if you're canted one way or the other. It's hard to see at this angle, but you can see right there, green. So now you're level. I thought this would work out really well during the match. I turned it on for every stage, and I don't think I ever looked at it once. It was just too little time to be dealing with this. As soon as I felt level, I was just taking the shot. The Nightforce ATACR has this Coltac card attached to it. It's just a piece of whiteboard. And then instead of dealing with the whiteboard and erasing every time, all I did was I had just layers and layers of tape on top. So I write down my data for one stage and then be able to pull that off and write down the data for the next stage. I thought writing in red would pop out more, but with the sun behind me, it really washed it out, so red was not a good idea. I just used black all day. How I did this throughout the day also changed. First time I tried just straight up holding all these and realized that doesn't really work very well. So then the next couple of stages I started making adjustments. I dial in the closest target and then use holds from there and just do some math. It's not hard. This is basically how everybody else shot the match. Learned that pretty quick. I had a couple of issues with this. Let's talk about the scope first, but I had some issues with the mount. I didn't shoot at all with the caps on. Let's take the caps off and get them out of the way. The ATACR has a rotating rear bezel, which is really annoying. I don't know why it's like that, but it is. Anyways, get that off. I spent the entire day basically between 8 and 10. And a couple stages where I had issues, I would want to look up and see, oh, am I dialed to the right spot, even though I dialed before the stage. And looking up, this would be right in the way. And then once I look past the knob, the ADM mount's in the way. So I still can't see what I'm dialed to. So I need to get a different mount, more like this Reptilia mount, where that top is flat and low and you can see past it to where you're dialed to. The second issue I had, which I still can't figure out how this happened, is I could not hit anything on one of the stages for the life of me after coming off a couple of stages where I shot really well. And I don't know what happened, but somehow I looked down and that was unlocked. And they're very hard to unlock. You can see how hard that is to push down. It's got a safety piece. And then on this side is a hex head that sits in a little slot. So I don't know what happened. I've got a bunch of these mounts that I've been shooting for years. I've never had one of these come loose on me. I mount them all the same way. They're all correctly torqued everywhere. So either something really weird happened and this came loose and unlocked itself, or someone messed with it while it was sitting in the staging area. But I find it very hard to believe that this organically unlocked itself. Anyways, that cost me some time on 2 stages because it was unlocked. Finally got it locked back down, but that changed where it was hitting. So then the final stage of the day, I had to refine my zero. Fortunately, it was just about a ½ mil lower than I expected, so I found it and shot the rest of the stage. Final piece of equipment, Armageddon gear, game changer. This is the waxed canvas heavy fill. You put this down and you can sit anything right on it and it'll sit there. This is very nice. All right, what do you actually need to shoot this match? You need your rifle, your pistol, ammo, and data. You don't need a pair of binoculars with rangefinders. You don't need a Garmin. You don't need a bag. This is all just nice to have stuff. There will be other people there that have Garmins and rangefinders and bags, and they will most likely share their data with you, tell you the ranges they got, use their bag. If you see me on a stage and you don't have a bag and you want to try one out, I'll let you use mine as long as I'm not using it. At the start of each stage, the RO would give you the ranges for the stage. Absolutely check with someone else or use your own rangefinder and rearrange them, because I found they were almost always egregiously wrong. We had targets that they told us were at 140 yards and I ranged them at 310. I got all of my rifle data with this set of binoculars and me behind it. So it would make the most sense for me to do the same thing for these targets. If you do have a set of binoculars and a tripod and you can sit there and spot all day, one, you're going to get really good at spotting and knowing where the targets are, but you also help the RO by calling hits. The RO's not there at this style of match to be calling hits at 500-yard targets. They're there to make sure the shooter stays safe and stays on the course of fire. They're not going to be spotting, so that's, as a competitor, you should be helping to spot. Finally, this match had a couple of issues. I saw different teams shoot the same stage different ways. Some started with mags in, some started with mags out. Some shot a target 6 times, some shot a target 4 times, some shot a target 10 times, all the same target. So all the stages being shot differently, the scores aren't really going to be equal. It's a little frustrating that happened. The RO or the match directors are aware that stuff like that happened, but it was more than just the one stage that they were aware of. There were other stages where I know our squad shot through an array twice but all the other squads shot through arrays once when we're all sitting around at the end talking. So that was a little frustrating, but it is what it is, and it's a learning experience, I guess, for everybody involved. All right, on to the stages.
Ben, Scott.
Yep.
Ben, you're on deck. Scott's in the hole.
All right,
Max, you know, understand the first spot?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Move. 1. Move. 1, 2, 3, 4.
5.
Far. Pistol. Unload and show clear pistol.
All right, spotters, you ready?
Take that back.
Spotters up.
This was our first stage of the day. The shooting order was a little confusing. You've got targets 1 and 2 right there in the valley. 3 and 4 on the hilltop right above it. 5 is off to the right-hand hilltop. 6 is way out there on a dead tree. And then 7 is way out there at a car. And you shoot targets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Move to the rock. Shoot target 7. Move to the next rock. Shoot targets 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and then shoot pistol. So it's a little confusing to follow this stage order.
Go get a bag.
Clear. Good run. 6770.
This stage I forgot to record. Scott was gracious enough to let me record him. Your first target's in that tree line right on the right-hand side of the screen. Then you move to a target at a hilltop, and then there's 3 targets off in the distance. You engage those in order from left to right. Then you move to the other side of the blue line on that log and repeat the same order. After that, you move underneath the 2 logs to the right and you shoot some pistol targets. I am not a good cameraman. Just see how just choppy back and forth I am. Nonetheless, Scott clears it all with a good time. I saw a lot of people using those bags he has underneath his elbow. I think that's pretty helpful if you're kneeling. It didn't seem to do him much good to standing. This is stage 1. There was 6 targets. You had to shoot them from left to right as they appeared. Right there you see me do the impossible and load a 30-round mag on a closed bolt. You have to shoot everything off these T-posts. This is apparently a leftover stage from a PRS match the week before. These things were very wobbly, and you kind of had to sit there and wait for your wobble to come back onto the target and take your shot. If you missed your shot, it obviously added a lot more wobble, which made everything a lot more difficult. So, close target, then you had a really long shot out to 460. Then you had 2 up close. T5 is actually the one that I thought was the most difficult. It's kind of just over the hill, starting to go down the backhand side. The stage brief actually had that distance, I think, at 140, but when I ranged it, I got 310, which I think was correct. A couple of people on my squad got 310, 320, somewhere around there. So this is where things go a little sideways for the match. This was supposed to be 10 hits. You go to each T-post and move, is what we were told, and then you move back down the line. 2 hits at each post, that's giving you 10 hits total. Another squad I watched when we were done, they just stood static and shot 4 hits. I heard another squad at the end did 6 hits static, so it's just all over the place on that. Giving an advantage to those squads.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Shooter ready.
This is my best stage of the day. It's just 2 targets, one near, one far. There's a target just over the top of that hill on the left, and then there's one all the way out at the tree line at about 490, 500 yards, something like that. You had to use 5 different ports on the VTAC board, any 5, including the stairs along the outside. I was fortunate enough that I'm tall enough I could reach the top 2. A couple other guys on my squad couldn't reach those top 2, so they had to use some of the boxes down below, which cost them a little time moving the rifle in and out of those boxes.
Good run, dude. Yeah. Clear. Hammer down holster. 6907.
Good run, bro.
6907.
All right, guys, we're moving over there.
All right. Pistol, holster, 5, move, 5, pistol.
Yep.
So after the last stage, we walked about 50 yards away to come to this stage. I stopped at my truck on the way over and just topped off my mags and placed my rifle over in the staging area. Up here, you had to start with your rifle on the fence somehow. It didn't really matter how you had it, just had to be touching the fence. I thought leaned up like that was a pretty good idea. So I'm having a lot of trouble hitting these targets, and you see at the end, this is the stage where somehow my ADM mount came undone. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I really don't think someone messed with it, but I've never had it happen before, and it's very odd that it happened. So right here, I'm on my 5th or 6th shot going at one target. I can see the hill behind it. It's all dry dirt, so I can see the splash, and I'm chasing these rounds left and right, up and down, bracketing targets. I can't figure out what's going on. Had I not been so stubborn, I should have just skipped targets after 2 or 3 rounds and ended on pistol and at least gotten those penalties, but I didn't. So, lesson learned there.
All right.
I'd hold right to go left. I'd hold left to go right.
Your first shot went really high left, about 2 mil high.
Okay.
And then you kept following it up, and then I found another one on the low right.
Oh my God. There it is right there. Scope came undone.
Oh, yeah. Unload, Chuckley.
4 spots.
4 spots.
All right.
This stage you had to shoot through any of the 4 spots on that middle beam. You could just pick whatever ones you wanted. I kind of just worked right to left, a little bit backwards, but it was worked in my head. You got 3 targets. You got a headshot at 290, and then torsos at 340 and 360. I tried to just brush the last stage off and called it a fluke. Felt pretty good getting those 3 hits pretty quick, but the problems start again here soon. I'm not exactly sure how, but the mount came open again some point here, you'll see me reach my hand backwards and push the lever shut again. But again, I spend too much time on each target. I should have skipped some targets and gotten to the pistol. The pistol here, there's one target up close right there at 25 yards maybe, little circle. And then there is a 100-yard torso. I believe it was 5 hits each, alternating, so near, far, near, far, near, far for 10 hits total. But I don't remember because I never actually got there, so I don't have it on film.
Feel right.
Yep. Low now.
You can hear the guy behind me yelling low. Every time he yelled low, I held a couple 0.2 mils higher over and over and over again until I was holding almost a mil higher to get a hit. I don't know what happened, but the rifle was clearly off.
Hit! 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 Hit!
I'll take it. Dang, man.
One rifle.
This was a fun stage. You started off with 2 rotations of pistol up front, and then you've got targets along both the right and left hand side of the road. You had to engage the right hand side from the right hand side of the tree and the left hand side of the road from the left hand side of the tree twice. So you'd go right, move to the left, move back to the right, move back to the left. After that, you would go ahead and do pistol again.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right, left, left.
Right, left twice.
Yep.
Good. Alrighty.
Ready?
Stand by.
This was another stage I heard had some issues towards the end. A couple other teams said that they only shot 1 rotation of those pistol targets, while we shot 2. So, again, less targets means less time. So I was still having scope issues. Fortunately, these targets were close enough and large enough. I just held head on them, knowing that I was low before. I still had a little bit of issues hitting some targets, and I could see the dirt splash below. I ended up having to hold anywhere from a half to a full mil above what I was supposed to, so you can see on my card there I had 0 and 0.5. I was holding somewhere between 1 and 1.5 to get all my hits here.
Clear, hold down holster.
So even with the issues with the scope and the mount, I still ended up placing 10th overall and 8th in my division. Happy enough with that, but I'll be getting a new mount and negating that issue in the future. Alright, question for you guys. My initial plan with these QD mounts was being able to swap back and forth for stuff that I use for running guns in the majority of my competitions with something that's pretty precise, so I can swap back and forth without having to build an entire other rifle or another upper. So I had these marked T10. This front slot goes on T10, and I could just swap these back and forth. ADM says these return to 0 fairly well, but after having that issue, I've kind of lost a little bit of faith in these. I have this Reptilia mount. They seem pretty good, but is there another mount you guys like? I've looked at Geissele's, I've looked at Area 419's, and Badger Ordnance as well, but I don't have any experience with anything outside of this Reptilia, which held fine. So I'd like to try either a top-mounted dot or an offset dot. This can take both, I believe. These can't accommodate either, so yeah, let me know if you guys have something you like.